the full form of ECM is Enterprise Content Management, but the term which people do get confused about content management is it's not only repository, but it's the complete management of that content which is coming to the enterprise and performing actions over there. So ECM, just like OOPS, it's not a language or term. It's more of a concept. So it's not a product which we say when we say ECM. It's not a product. It's a concept which is there. So OOPS is a concept. It's not Java or .NET. Java and .NET are languages. Same way FileNet, Documentum are products. But ECM, it's a concept. So this concept is mainly to ensure that access to the information which is coming in an organization is always there. The organization is able to access those content on a timely basis in a secured way, and whatever processes that needs to be run on receiving those information, those can be executed in a proper way. So if I read it from here, the objective, or rather, you want me to read these terms? Because again, why I'm asking is because people who are from the same background like you, coming from Documentum background, you might be familiar with these terms and the difference between the product and the concept. So you want
yeah. No need. Just read these items. So if I have some defined thing, then I can ask you on the spot.
Sure,
okay.
Sure.
So unless you have examples for explaining, you can explain.
Sure. Yeah. So as it says, ECM is not a product. It's a specific. It's not a product or a technical solution. Rather, it is a disciplined framework for identifying the sources and consumers of an organization's information. I hope the definition is clear. It applies control to its creation, use, and handling, and making it available to those applications and workers who need it to complete the business processes. So business processes means workflows. Yeah. And the objective of ECM is to ensure that access to the information that is being shared across the organization is timely, accurate, and secure, and provides the required processes to execute key functions in support of strategic business goals. So this is the main keyword, strategic business goals, which we have to achieve. Now, ECM have 5 stages. The concept of ECM, it has 5 stages. First is capture, then manage, then store, then preserve, and then deliver. Now we will go through each, and we will see what all products are used of FileNet family to achieve these. That will be the next part. Now, how an organization will receive the data, that the information, that is in 2 ways. One is the unstructured information, and second is your structured information. The concept of the examples of unstructured information is images, documents coming from offices, graphics, drawings, emails, web content. And structured information would be the details which are present in the database or some ordered data, things which are coming in a defined forms, accountings. All these are structured information.
Okay.
Any question?
No questions.
Okay. Yeah. So when we say ECM and its capabilities, we already read it before, but this is again coming the same thing in different words. So to address the challenges of managing unstructured and semi-structured content, ECM is introduced as the management of these types of content at the enterprise level. So this is the key why ECM concepts were introduced in the organizations. So we were getting so much of data. Now to manage that data, initially the concept of ECM came in. Now, I believe that clarifies that why it is still called as ECM and not workflow or anything like that. So the concept of content management was because there was too much of content coming in the organization. To manage that, this concept came in. And initially, if you see, even all the products were managing only the content. The repositories were there. Later on, with those repositories, the workflow systems came into picture, right? Even FileNet has two divisions that we will see, the content part and the processing part. So that we'll see in the coming slides. Okay. Now, as we discussed in the last slide, so the management includes capturing, organizing, securing, and storing those information, structured and unstructured. Now, there is another concept called a semi-structured, which we will see in data cap part. So there are some things which are completely unstructured. There are some things which are completely structured. But then there are few things which are semi-structured, where you have partially you things and partially the things are not defined. They can be here and there. So those kind of documents are also being received by companies. And yeah, I'll read this because this second part is very important or very helpful in understanding the ECM concept completely. So the management includes capturing, organizing, securing, and storing unstructured and semi-structured content within an enterprise from creation to disposition. So this whole cycle from creation to disposition comes under ECM. Okay. And facilitates searching and controlled access. Controlled access means secured access to managed information assets directly from business processes or from other line of businesses.
Okay.
So ECM is about empowering people to make decisions better and faster. So that how you empower people by ECM, you give them a fast and secured access to whatever they need. So that's why this concept of facilitate searching was here. So if I need a document to make a decision, that document is easily accessible to the right person. That is the concept here. So better and faster. Once you have that document, you can verify and you can make a decision.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are the 5 concepts which we discussed to capture. Now capture means from where the data is coming. So it could be a scanner, it could be a video, email, anything. Then manage. So manage means segregate that into the right folder. So you might be getting it from multiple places, but you have to segregate it. Once that management is done, that right file is right folder is having the right document, then you store it. So when we say store it, it is in the DB. Now once that is stored, you need to preserve it, that right people are accessing the right thing, or if some things to be kept for particular number of years, those kind of things we call it as preserve. And then we put it to the end user. So whenever end user needs it, he should be able to access that. Right? These are the 5 concepts, or we call it as a typical life cycle of a organizational content. Now, these concepts are again what we discussed here. They define this thing. So you capture the thing, then you create a file for that, you collaborate it, you make the version of it. So I think this versioning you don't have to I mean, I don't have to define, you know that what versioning is. You have one license, then you said that the bank said no, this is not the right license, so you gave another picture of your license, that becomes your version 2. You kept it as the same document, right? So that is your versioning. Then you manage that. So over here manage comes over here. You publish it. When we say publish it, it is more like putting it into the confirming that this has been required. So you putting it into the DB. Then archiving is your preservance. So you put it in such a way that it is not deleted. Then you query it, that is someone wants it at the front end, so they will make a query to it. Then you again put it back in the system. So re-archive and then retire. Retire means when you say that, okay, this file needs to be there in the system for 7 years. So after 7 years, it should be deleted. Otherwise, it will be a burden to the system. So either delete it or somehow move to some other things. So purging is the concept which we comes at the end of this. Clear?
Okay, so Himanshu, in terms of when we talk about this product, right, the FileNet. So these for example, collaboration, publish, archive.
No. I'll come to that. So should we move to next? Yeah, over here. Now,
Okay.
yeah, okay. So here I will cover these things. So when I say capture, I was just seeing, okay. So when I say capture you do through scanner or OCR, some device from the front end. Now that capture part in FileNet, there is a product for doing that. Which is the product? DataCap. For now, this is DataCap. Earlier, it used to be the imaging services. So imaging, we call that imaging, right? So you scan the invoices, POs, employee files, all these things comes under imaging. So that is your capture part. Okay. Data capture is the product of FileNet which do this capturing. Okay.
Okay, so this is called DataCap. You mean this is a separate product we need to install?
The product, yes, there is a product called as DataCap which is used to do this capturing part.
Okay.
Okay, that's a separate product. Then once that capturing is done, you create that file, you share it with someone, you make markups on that, you have a document showing all those things you can do on that particular file that you have received. Then you put it into the document management system. Now collaboration and document management system is your FileNet product, your repository where you are putting it. So these two things are done by your FileNet product. Now FileNet product for doing this commenting, markup, annotation, there is another tool which is within FileNet, which is for image viewing, the viewer. So this all we'll see when we see the UI. Now you will come to know that where data viewer comes up. So that has all these options of doing all these markup and other things. Then you put it into the repository where the document is secured. It has versioning, it is stored and preserved. So that is your document management. So document management is your FileNet, IBM FileNet, the product FileNet, not the FileNet family, but specific FileNet. So that concept comes over here. Then your next concept is your records management. Now, what is records management? I have, for example, I requested for a loan from a bank. Now bank asked me for some documents. You give me your salary certificate, give me your identity proof, give me some other documents, and based on that they sanctioned me a loan. Now till that time, that workflow, the flow of giving the loan is in process. Those documents were considered as document, right? Whatever I was submitting, those were the documents. The moment I got the till that time they can say that your salary slip is not updated, your bank statement is not from last 3 months. Those kind of things they can ask, right? Now, once they sanction the loan, the moment that workflow ends, I got the loan. That document part is over, right? That document is no more needed for sanctioning of loan. Loan is sanctioned. But for audit purpose, for any internal purpose, they need that document to be stored in the repository for a particular period of time. For example, I've taken a loan from bank for 10 years. So 10 years of that time, till that time loan is going on, plus 7 years of their time where they need to compliance with the, say, RBI guidelines that after the loan is completed, you need to keep it for 7 years. So for those 17 years, they would need to keep the document as a record so that they call it as a, they can show it to anyone who is coming to them that based on these documents, we have sanctioned the loan, right?
Yeah.
You got the concept of document?
Yeah,
Now that
yes.
document, so now that document has become a record. It's no more a document, it's a record now. I cannot change that record. Whatever changes was to be done was done on the document part, right? Your photo is not clear, your salary slip is not as per the date, all those things they can ask me till the time that flow was going on. But the moment they gave me the loan and they want to change, they want to keep it in the system now, they cannot ask me to change the salary slip of my. They can't ask me for a latest salary slip, right? Whatever they have sanctioned, they have to keep it as a record. So now those documents can't be changed, and then they are being called as records. So this part of archiving or retention, where they have to put the retention policies, this part is being done by another product of FileNet family, and that is called as enterprise records management. Earlier it used to called as records management, now it is called as enterprise records management. Okay, that is another product. So I am telling you the products which I said now we'll be discussing FileNet family over here.
Yeah.
So these are the products which we are discussing: DataCap for imaging, FileNet for collaboration and document management. Again, for specific collaboration, if I use a word, I'll be giving you a specific product, Data Viewer, which is part of FileNet image viewing. So that we will see. It is not a separate product; it's part of FileNet. It comes bundled within FileNet, so that you don't have to worry about. But collaboration and document management you do through FileNet, IBM FileNet. Then records management, enterprise records management. Then comes the concept of workflow, business process management. Another wonderful thing to work on. I mean, most of the people are. I'm not. You guys are old, so you know about this. When I say old, it means the old enough to understand the concept of BPM. So you know that people are very much influenced or kind of attracted towards the workflow designing. So this concept of business process management is that part. So there are two products of IBM which are there in the market as of now for BPM part. One itself is called as IBM BPM, which is a upgraded version of IBM Lombardy. So there was a product IBM Lombardy which was there in the market for quite long, and then they changed it to IBM BPM. And there was another product BPF, Business Process Framework, which was more of a line from IBM FileNet side. So that they actually took the advantage of that, and kind of a sales strategy possibly because people were not liking Lombardy, so they changed the name to BPM, and then that's how they presented. Second product which we use as a FileNet family is IBM Case Manager nowadays. Earlier it used to be FileNet itself, which was having a separate division called as Process Engine, but now we have a IBM Case Manager, a separate product. Again, if you take Case Manager, FileNet will be there as a base, but if you take FileNet, it's not mandatory that you have to take the Case Manager. So vice versa is not there.
Okay,
Getting the concept?
Yeah, so this regarding this case manager, right? This is separate product you're saying, is it?
Yes.
So it's not part of the bundled FileNet.
It's not part of bundled FileNet, but when you say for Case Manager, for example, you are taking license for Case Manager, then FileNet will be bundled with that. So you cannot run Case Manager without FileNet, but you can run FileNet without Case Manager.
We can learn FileNet without Case Manager. Okay, but in this course we are discussing about the workflows also, right? Designing workflows.
In this course, yes, we will be going through IBM Case Manager. That is your main development part.
Okay. So
are you guys familiar what we will be discussing on this, or none of you was there in the demo part? If that is the case, let's go through that the course content which will be there, if you want.
Because I'm not in the demo part actually, so I don't know the overview of this course actually.
Okay, I'll give you that overview. Just give me a minute.
What?
Yes. So navigator is actually your UI. What the end user will see will come to that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, whatever we are discussing, what workflow we are designing, all those things are from the backend perspective, right? From the developer's perspective. But for
Yeah.
end user, whatever you have designed, how will he work on that? So for example, I've created 5 properties and 2 document classes, or I should say reverse, that 2 document classes and 5 properties in each of them. So any document coming to those classes will have those 5 properties. But how the end user will add a document to that class, or how the end user, you have designed a workflow, you have designed a wonderful solution, you know how to use case builder, that you have done, but how the end user will be able to work on that solution, that concept comes at the navigator side. So your UI is your navigator. As I said, once we discuss the architecture, you'll design, you'll be able to understand all those things. Okay.
Okay.
So we'll move back to where we left last. We were here. Yeah, so we were here, right? Business process management.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then your information organization and access. So your security, your access control, your compliances, all those things comes under your information organization and access part. So these are your key ECM concepts. Okay. So I compared even the tools which are associated with this. Okay. So information, document management, records management, BPM, all these are your products which you need.
Okay.
Now a question. This is a question which anyone can ask who is not from ECM background. That why should I implement a ECM solution? I am happy with my file system. Why should I implement a such an expensive ECM solution? So first thing is I mean you are from documentum background. So one thing you have seen is that most of the ECM solutions are related to either financial organizations or will be there with the government organizations mostly, right? Otherwise, people will be happy with some basic tool. They'll be happy with Excel. They'll be happy with DB. They will not come to a ECM tool. But ECM tools are mostly being used by these organizations, which need not only one thing, but they need compliance, they need efficiency, they need productivity, because these all things kind of a ROI for them is that much that they can invest on these kind of products. If my ROI is not effective enough to show that okay, I got this much of return from my investment, then there is no point of putting that much of amount in any business. So that's why business who have large volumes, who have large dependency. So if a bank goes against a regulation, the penalty that they have to pay would be much more than the cost of a license in these products. So then they feel that okay, they have to better to use the products which can help them in putting the compliance in place to adhere to the laws. Same way, if there is a very high efficient business coming up and they can increase the efficiency by automating their products, they'll be getting the returns, right? So that's why these kind of organizations or the systems go for these ECM tools rather than the small businesses. Okay. Now these are the 5 points which I think are self-explanatory: compliance, efficiency, productivity, archiving. We discussed all these things, so there is no point of going into it. And consolidations. Okay. Any questions till now?
No questions.
Yeah, I think we discussed in between, so probably that's sort of fine. Okay, now we will move to IBM FileNet and IBM Case Manager. Earlier the session was into 2 parts, but then I realized when I go much into FileNet, people feel that Case Manager is missing out, and nowadays Case Manager itself comes with FileNet, so that's why we have a common uh, session on these 2 topics.
Okay.
Now you can see that how this product moved. So till 3.5 version, FileNet was this P8. We call it as FileNet P8. So P8 was FileNet under the ownership of FileNet. Then and when this FileNet was there, at the same time IBM was having its own products, which were having a kind of a fight. Now FileNet was having edge over it. IBM tried few products, they were not able to meet up. So then 2006 they acquired FileNet. And after that, the last version of FileNet was released by FileNet team itself, that was 4.0. I started working on this 4.0. Okay.
Okay.
So till that time it was FileNet P8. The name of the product was FileNet P8. Later, IBM tried to change its name. So initially they kept it as IBM FileNet. Then they named it as IBM, Advanced Case Manager. So in 5.1, there was a term which was used, Advanced Case Manager. Then they introduced a term IBM Case Manager. So from 5.2, they started calling it as IBM Case Manager. But Case Manager is something which is a separate product, which is specifically for process engine. What is process engine, that we will see. But FileNet as a P8 was there, is there till now, and they don't have a replacement for it. So it is such a kind of a stable product, FileNet P8. In last some discussion, one of my senior, he used a very bold statement which I liked a lot about FileNet, and it was like in my whole career of 30 years, I've never seen FileNet breaking down because of the load. So that kind of reliability FileNet gives to the organizations.
Oh, good.
Okay. Yeah.
I have one question here. So you mentioned that still they are using is 4.0 currently customers.
No. I doubt there will be any. There could be any because I have seen people not moving out of the base versions which they got it, but that comes with a very heavy cost. I mean,
How about the supportability and the license expiry period?
yes, that's what I'm saying. That their support cycle keeps on changing. If they come up with any advanced version, they give the advanced version. They ask you to upgrade to it if your license is continuing with them.
Okay.
The problem comes when their support ends. So, for example, 5.2, the support has ended now. Now the team who are companies who are still on 5.2, either they have to pay the extended cost for IBM support, or they will have to move to the higher version. Now people don't like changes. So for example, in 2014 or 15, someone has installed 5.2, right?
Yeah.
And then in 18, they ask that now the that duration is over, you start moving to other one, or you start paying higher. So that kind of things comes with IBM FileNet products. For example, this 5.2, 5.5, sorry, it was in 2018. Now this FileNet, not FileNet, but Case Manager, they have stopped supporting the latest that old version 5.3. They are saying to move to the next version. So those kind of things keeps coming on with IBM, but that is more on the licensing side. And
Okay.
they are, I mean, that kind of discussion happens between IBM. So IBM will give some discount initially if the client is like that. It depends how the client and deal is there with them. If a major client is there who is giving them a threat of moving out of FileNet, then they continue with the same, or they provide those kind of support.
Okay.
I can't comment much on IBM in that scenario. That those are the strategies which a company has. Yeah.
So I see here to 2018 December. Is this the last release on this file?
No. This sheet is not updated. It's an old sheet. But we have 5.5.3 and then 5.5. So those are already there, and then movement to BOW. All those things are there.
So what is the latest one now currently in the market? latest
5.3 is the latest one. After that, I have not seen release of.
okay, 5.5.3.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
You want to confirm?
No, nothing else. You can proceed. Yeah. No.
So 5.5.5 is the latest version for FileNet.
5.5. Okay.
5. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now comes the basic architecture. So now I have designed architecture for this training in 2 layers. It's not that we will directly jump into this complex structure. I'll come to this later on. First, we'll understand the basic concept of FileNet. And
Okay.
again, this is not something which is very latest. This is coming from this old school kind of thing. Okay, but I'm giving you this overview, and if you are clear with the second part, which is at the bottom, application, content, and process, you will be able to segregate FileNet at any place. Okay.
Okay.
Now I'll give you what these 3 things are. So you guys might be hearing some crackers noise. Okay. So this product IBM FileNet, it has a basic division into 3 engines. When we say engine, those are the 3 applications which are running in parallel. They are needed to support each other. One is called as content engine, which we now refer to as FileNet P8. So content engine is your repository. Whatever is there in FileNet as a storage, all will go into this content repository. So whether I do a workflow, whether I put a document, whether I create properties, classes, anything which I do from my front end, it will go into the content engine, my CE. Clear? That is one repository. Second repository is my process engine. Now, although whatever I'm doing at my workflow side will get stored in content engine, but my concept of workflows will be there in my process engine. So my rosters, my queues, everything was going into process engine, and whatever UI I have front end was going into application engine. This is the core IBM FileNet P8 engines. Again, coming from the old school, not the latest architecture. Till 4.5, this architecture was yes.
Okay. So here they mentioned the FileNet P8 layer, right? So the P8 means it's referring any 8 levels. Is it something?
No. I told you, na, the FileNet was the company and P8 was its product name.
Oh, okay.
Some say that it is because there were 8 products which were there in the initial version, and that's why they named it as P8. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So on FileNet platform, there were 8 products. If you'll search, you'll find those 8 products: content manager, case FileNet, repository, process engine. There are that way there are 8 names which you will get, and those were the initial releases of FileNet. So till that time, the company was FileNet, and the product was called as P8. Later, the company became IBM, and the product became FileNet. So IBM FileNet became the product. Got
Okay.
it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that's why this is, as I said, this is from the old school. This is not the latest architecture, and I'm again saying that don't get confused with the latest architecture. I will explain the latest architecture, but before that, you should be clear that IBM FileNet works on 3 major components: content, process, and your UI application.
Okay.
Okay, so your content part, whatever your content is, will go into the content engine. Whatever is your workflow part will go into your process engine, and whatever you are designing on the UI will be your application engine. Clear from
Okay.
here?
Yeah. So
Now
content, it will process the incoming contents and it will store into the repository.
no. Don't get confused with that. Content engine, conceptually you are right, but practically what happens is anything which is there in FileNet will go into the content repository finally, right? You have to put it in some repository.
Yes.
So that part is your content engine. So not only the content, but your properties, your files, your even your classes which you are creating, everything will go into that content.
Okay.
What is process? Anything related to your workflow was part of process. So whatever designing I am having, whatever workflows I am designing, whatever queues I am designing, all those were part of your process engine. So there were separate repository for process engine. Was again using the word was, because why I'm using was, I'll show you in the next slide. So you'll come to know that why I'm continuously using the word was. And then your third concept was your UI. So application engine, platform independent web application. That was your application engine.
Okay. So
Should I move
content.
forward?
Yeah. So content engine is separate, having separate repositories, and the process engine also having separate repository.
Not now, but was. That's why I'm using the word was. And let me move to the next. So
Okay. Okay.
now. Now come the concept of content platform engine, CPE. Initially, most of the people called it content process engine. Called it, not the right word, but because it, in short, it was written as CPE. A lot of people like me got confused and we thought that it is CPE. Why we thought it as CPE? Because content platform engine is basically a merger of your C and your P. Your content engine and process engine were merged by IBM and now they come under a single repository. So now the repository is common. Their tables are still different. If you look into if you go deep down inside the DB, your SQL or whatever Oracle DB you are using for this installation, if you go into that DB, you will still find that tables are different. The tables are still coming with the name as VW or Q or roster. Those kind of names are still there. Those were the tables from process engine. And for content engine, the tables were different. But still those tables and those tables are still there, but they are under the same schema. Earlier, we used to have a separate schema for process engine and separate schema for your content engine. Earlier, again, why I'm telling you the background, because that will help you out in understanding the core concept of FileNet. So
Okay.
earlier, what was the concept was, when we were having content engine, it was running as a web what you say as a war file in VAS. Okay, and process engine was developed on C++. So there were CPP files which were running in version 4. Okay, and those were the Windows services. It was a Windows service. It was not a web application. Okay, till version 4. Then in 4.5, it was still a Windows application, but was on Java. So content engine and process engine, the first step they took, the IBM took, was they bring content engine and process engine both on Java. So in spite of CPP files, we were seeing the Java files. Then they moved the process engine, rather than as a Windows application, it has started coming as a VAS application, the WAR file, and that WAR file is also part of your simple content engine single file. So now you don't have two WAR files, content engine and process engine, you have single WAR file, that is CP, or we call it as FileNet engine. I'll show you when we'll see the VAS thing now, we'll see this thing. So now these two concepts are coming bundled in single uh, WAR file. So we call it as content platform engine. Clear with this concept over here, or still have the confusion?
Little bit confused. Let me clarify this one. So now you're saying this content engine and the process engine is merged into the single WAV file, is it?
Content engine and process engine are in?
They merged with a single WAV file or as a Windows services?
No, they come as a single WAR file. We'll see which WAR file is that. I'll show you when we go into that vast thing now. I'll show you which is the WAR file. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is clear.
Yeah. Okay. So now we will look at the layers. So first is your, okay, now where is the application engine? You can see your C and P. Where is your AE? So now this is your AE, your client. anything which is on the UI part, we consider that as AE. And AE nowadays comes as a single file called as navigator. Earlier also it was a single file. That time it was called as workplace. Now workplace thing has gone out. Workplace or workplace XT, you can see it's a legacy. So nowadays this architecture is from covering all the things from 4. So that's why I kept workplace XT, everything, so that people having old versions can also relate. But for you, I think you guys are working on the latest version 5.5.
Okay, but
So
from
in
what
that,
I missed that one. I can't hear properly. That one, the version number.
you guys are working on 5.5, right? This
Uh,
workplace and workplace XT was there till 5.2. From 5.3, these things are not there.
oh, okay, okay.
Okay. Yeah. So now we have navigator. Everything is on navigator. Your
Hmm.
UI, your application engine is your navigator. Okay.
Okay.
If there is something which you think is causing you a trouble, just stop me there. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So your UI, you will be working on navigator, that is out of box. Then you can have your services developed from your end. So you can have your own uh, what you say design. We call it as a headless implementation, where we develop the where we have this develop our own UI and show it. I mean, make the calls using the Java APIs or .NET APIs and do the operations in FileNet. So
Hmm.
so navigator is one. Then another thing which will be there for the UI will be, as I said, your administrative console for CP. So that will be another UI that you will be working. Then you will be working on CMAC, which is your case manager administrative client. Then you can see IBM Data Cap. So even IBM Data Cap interacts with Content Engine if the repository is used as data FileNet. If you are using some other repository, then definitely it will go outside. Then on the APIs part, again, Navigator, Workplace XT, even your ACE, they all connect with the Java and sorry, content and process engines Java APIs. So
Hmm.
again, call it as CP APIs. Okay. But if you are working specifically on content related APIs, so we call it as content management interoperability services, CMIS. So if you are using CMIS APIs, then it will not make a call to a generic one, but it will make direct call to content engine Java API. So you can see this line is extending till here.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. Once that is done, then we move to the CP part. Now the CP part is again your content and process engines web services. Then it makes call to your container, and then your services are invoked. To be more specific or to have more clarity, we have a clear architecture from 5.2, which I can explain, but I think we are running out of time. So shall we connect tomorrow and we'll continue from here?
Okay, can.
Would that be
Uh,
okay? Because
yeah,
if I
maybe.
start this is something which will take a lot of time, and I want you to start fresh on this. Because if
Okay.
I start explaining from here, you will start getting confused. What is case builder? Why it is here? Why it is there? And where it is connecting? Where is this LDAP coming up? Why this object stores? All these things we have to work on. So would it be okay if we do it tomorrow?
Okay, can. We will connect tomorrow.
Yeah.
Same time, okay for you?
Same
Or
time is fine for me. Yeah. Yeah.
okay, 7 p.m. Indian time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, can.
Okay. Any feedback? Am I going too fast? Am I going too slow? Explaining too
Uh,
much? Not explaining too much?
Not too slow. Actually, in some places I can't able to catch your words actually. So
So stop me over there because I know at times when I go into a flow, I start speaking quite fast. So you
mm,
have to stop me. You can always
yeah,
stop me and tell me a bit slow.
yeah, can. So can you go to the previous slide? Just some queries.
Sure.
So here, IBM Content Navigator we use to design the front end, right? This is the product
Yes.
along with
Yes.
the file.
Yes.
And
This part, na, which you are asking, will be part
uh,
of this discussion. So over here, I will explain that what navigator comes up. What is you remember I used the word CMAC. This is that
uh,
thing. Then case client. So then ACE is your administrative client for content platform engine. So these all things I will explain tomorrow. Okay.
okay, okay.
Yeah. So you're catching it exactly right. That this is the navigator, your UI
This
where you will be designing there. Yeah.
yeah, and this one, the content management interoperability, that one.
Sorry, didn't get it. What?
I mean, can you go back to the previous slide?
Mm-hmm.
So this content management interoperability services, right?
These
So
are the
this is
APIs. These are the
this.
APIs provided by FileNet. Yes.
So we can use Java to use these APIs
Yes.
to communicate
Yes.
with content engine. So
Exactly.
what about this one, the administrative console for content platform engine? This one you said you will explain tomorrow.
This is yes. This is something which we will see. I'm not sure if you remember from the course content, but there was a specific topic on this administrative console for content platform engine. It is called
Hmm.
ACE. So whatever thing you are doing on process engine and content engine, specifically to be very specific, anything that you are doing on the FileNet administrative side, you need this tool. So this is your tool for doing any changes on administration
Okay.
perspective, whether it is creation of classes, creation of properties, anything that you are doing, you will be doing it from here. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, once we do
And it
this
is for
one,
CP.
this will be displayed in the content navigator.
No, not this. This is outside navigator. That's why I said that navigator will have your see. You want me to continue with this? Because
Okay.
navigator will have your
Tomorrow,
CMAX.
think that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got your confusion. There are two administrative clients.
Hmm.
Okay, one is your administrative client for content platform engine, which we call it as a, which we call as ACE. Okay. Second is
Okay.
your case manager administrative client, which is your administrative client for case manager, and this ACE is your administrative client for CEP, content platform engine. Okay,
Okay.
ACCE ACE and CMAC, case manager administrative client. Don't get confused with these two, and after 3-4 sessions you will be clear with these two. I'm sure about that. Okay.
Hmm. Okay.
Initially today you are hearing the same term administrative client, you might getting confused, but one is administrative client for CP and the other is case manager administrative client. So they probably have made it like that because of that only, so that people don't get confused.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything
Can
else till
nothing, Imanshu. We can share these completed PPTs to me, so I will go through again tomorrow before starting the session again. Okay.
you want to share this PPT before, right now, because usually I share it once these 3 sessions are done.
Okay. Because
Why
I
I'm
want to,
saying this?
uh,
Mhm.
so that I can view
Yeah, tell
the
me.
topics what we covered today.
Okay, okay, I'll share that, because what happens is when I share, people go into these points and then they start questioning over here. So if I'm explaining anything here and a question comes from here, then explaining that becomes a problem. I'll share it. It's not a problem, but just uh, don't go beyond this till we are reaching there.
No.
Till
Up
this,
to command only. Yeah.
yeah. Just advice. I'm not saying that you can't go.
Hmm.
I'll share it with Akhil because I don't have your email IDs. So Akhil will forward it to you. Okay.
Yeah. Please inform me, Vakil, also. Yeah. To
Okay.
for. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Manshu. Yeah. We will connect tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.